Hey guys, so how to drastically increase your bookkeeping business income without drastically increasing your client load or your stress. So I can't really see you guys today because I don't have my glasses. I lost my glasses somewhere in the last 12 to 24 hours. So I can't quite see and my eyes are a little bit too tired putting my contact lenses right now. So I'm just like, I'm blind and I'm like, so I can see the outline of me, but I can't see any details. So hopefully everything is good looking inside the video. So let's attack this thing. Also, before we get started, if you want some help growing your business, but maybe it's just not quite going the way that you hoped or you planned when you started out, and you know that if you had some help, if you had some guidance, and you had someone who's been where you're trying to go, help you out step by step, and you think that's valuable, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. So, number one, usually when we talk about increasing our business on this channel, we focus on marketing first. Today, we're going to be talking about sales, okay? Because sales is really the key way to speed up the return and the rate of growth. So, someone asked me the difference, and they're like, well, why are you saying sales and marketing? Aren't they the same? No, not really. So marketing is all about creating opportunities for your sales department to close or sign up people. Okay, so marketing is all about, it's about both the volume of leads that you have as well as the quality of leads that you have. So marketing can be put out, let's say LinkedIn, for example, and it gets a number of people who are interested in your service, right? So that's facet one of marketing. Facet two is that of those leads, marketing can also inform and educate them more and more about your company, your values, how you guys help, so that they're more warm and they're more likely to purchase from you when they go inside the sales department. Sales is all about making a case and taking a lead that is qualified. It's a mixture of qualifying the leads as well as educating the leads a little bit further and kind of push them over the edge to get them to want to sign up with you. Now, the reason why I'm saying sales is the thing that drastically increases your ability to scale your business faster is because let's say if you get 10, let's say that you have 10 consultation calls. If you're bad at sales, you're gonna close 1 out of 10, right? There's always, out of 10 people, there's always one person that's gonna sign up with you, but that means that you're gonna have to in order to get 2 clients, you need 20 consultation calls. Most people don't get 20 consultation calls in an entire year, if that puts in perspective. So it might take you an entire year to go get 2 clients. But if you just get better at sales, and let's say out of 10 calls, you close 5 of them, okay, well now that can be very, very profitable. It can be anywhere between $2,500 to it's 5 times 5, $25,000 per month, and that could be done in let's say that's done in a month. So the difference between you taking a year to get 2 clients or you taking a month to get 5. Right? So that's why whenever people talk about what's realistic for your program, or why are some of your students growing so fast, it's not that we have I think most people think that leads are falling from the sky and everything. It's no, it's just you get in front of the right person can afford to pay you, you just give them a very compelling argument and really logically describe why they should be working with you at the price point you're talking about, and then they sign up with you. And then since they were the right size person, and because you know how to price, we teach how to price things in our program, but since you know how to price it, you're pricing an appropriate amount of money, so each time you get a new client, your income statistically or significantly grows up, right? So that's number one, okay? So it's the difference between sales and marketing. So in order to start getting better at sales, there's 3 main factors when it comes to it. Now, I'm not going to go into extreme detail about your sales consultation call on this video. We do have a video on our channel that goes through how to do the scripting, how to change your script, how to improve your sales script so you can start building one for yourself. If you just want your own, just customize one, you can just join our program, we just customize one for you. Now, okay, the first things first when it comes to sales, I'm going to give you the 3 pillars that are going to increase your just sales skills in general without needing to necessarily have a script word for word. Now, a difference between if you have these 3 things, the script naturally is going to work, and a lot of people they end up being able to go what's called off script. But if you don't have these things, then you need a sales script as much as possible. Yeah. This person keeps trying to get me to do this thing called hot yoga, and it's it's 100 degrees in the room, and I'm historically I do not do great with heat. Like I get a lot of heat strokes, I get a lot of just different things like that. So she keeps trying to get me to go to this like 100 degree. It's like 100 degree in there for an hour. Okay, I was trying to acclimate to the heat yesterday, so I went inside the sauna, and I went to the sauna for like 2 minutes. Afterwards, I felt like I was gonna pass out. It was like 158 degrees or 198. So I'm like, a whole hour in 100? That's crazy to me. It's like, there's a reason why I don't leave my house. Oh man. Okay, so belief number 1 is your internal beliefs. So when I say internal beliefs, I have to edit this video, but when we talk about internal beliefs, in order for our external world to really bend to our will and meet what we need to meet, our internal beliefs have to be there. So let's say, for example, a good reason why a lot of people can kind of grow in their corporate career is because first they go to school, then they go and get a degree. Okay, so let's say they have a degree. Now, the degree kind of gives them access to feel like, okay, so these jobs have XYZ requirements. As soon as I meet these requirements, I should be able to get this job. That's an internal belief, right? I've seen people in the corporate career who didn't even have a college degree, but somehow they got higher and higher and higher inside of it, right? They might get a foot in the door for however many reasons, right? But what's the difference? If they don't necessarily need that, but they got in there, that's just someone that believes that they can get it, they deserve to do it, right? So is it really about the degree, or is it the ability to believe that you are deserving of something and then going out and getting something, right? It depends on the person. Some people need a degree in order to feel like, to give themselves validation, permission to do something. Some people just do something. Both, it's not necessarily a right or wrong thing, but it starts inside of here. It's the same thing when it comes to sales. So some things that I see some people have trouble with is like believing that the price they are charging for their service is what someone should pay. And that is not necessarily the key. Okay, so but yeah, so that's number 1, okay? So really understanding that your price is not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of how someone feels about you. It's all about the other person, okay? All price is just a mirror that you hold in front of someone that basically says, you said you wanted A. Do you really want to do things that are required to get A, or are you just kind of talking, right? And this like happens a lot. So it doesn't happen quite as much, but it's like with our mentorship program, like what a lot of people don't understand is like, when we charge the price for our mentorship program, it's basically the price point of like one client that's gonna pay you like $500 a month, a little bit less than that, right? So $500 a month for like the course of a year, a little bit less than that. But in the beginning, we were getting a lot of people that would apply for our mentorship program that were kind of like interested in starting a business, or they had a business started, but they just weren't really committed to it. And I could never really understand why that was. Like, people just kind of say that they want something, but they don't really pull the trigger and like do it. It's not everybody. It's like, it's just most people that are unsuccessful. I've just noticed that trait. And the reason why I say like unsuccessful like in business and just like maybe even in life, like they just kind of like stay at the same spot and they get passed up for promotions and just different things like that, right? And like corporate's kind of a weird environment because like oftentimes people that are like the most deserving don't oftentimes get the stuff, but business is kind of one of those things where it's more of like a meritology because of the fact that it's based on how much you work and like the strategy with which you use to grow. Okay, so corporate, we're not talking about corporate because you can be very successful in corporate, but then like when you try and start your own business, like nothing works. So let's just keep it inside of the business realm. So I see them like year after year and it's just like, hey, did you ever get anything going? Did you ever start? Well, no, I've been thinking about it. Or no, I never really got down to it. I never really got, and it's like, it's not really a surprise. Versus like a big secret for like my mentorship program, why people do so well is because as soon as they pay the money to join the program, now they have skin in the game and they literally just can't not do the things they know they need to do. So it's like accountability. And then as soon as they do it, it's like, that's when you see the guys where it's like, well, I've been trying to do this for a while, but it's like, okay, well, you're not really attacking at this kind of velocity. You're not really using this kind of strategy. It's not really working the way you think it is. And like, you know that you could be doing more. You know that you could be doing better, but it's like, it's hard to build something for yourself in some cases if there's no one really counting on you to do it. Right, so you'll go to a job that you hate for years because you know that your family's counting on it. You have to pay the bills. Like that's accountability you have to do. But when it comes to our business, it's very easy to kind of have it be this like random side thing where it's like, you know, maybe your spouse is kind of against you starting it, or maybe you feel like it's taking time away from your kids, and you feel like just all these different things, right? So it's like, first things first, if we can get that commitment, we get that internal belief system set up correctly, then you're naturally going to do the movements and mechanics to be able to grow. Give me one second, my nose. Sorry guys, my nose is like really running today. Just one of those things. So first things first, internal beliefs. Price is not a reflection of you, it's really a reflection of them. So yes, back to it, yes, exactly. So price is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. It's not about your self-worth, okay? Like, because think about it, if it's about your self-worth, like what is a person worth, right? Some people might say like, you know, they're worth $100,000 a year in their job. Like their job might give you a worth, but is that really your worth? Because as soon as you go and get a promotion, does that mean that you're now worth more money versus before you weren't? No, not necessarily. It just means that the position that you were doing was worth a certain amount of money. It's not an intrinsic reflection of your value. So why should the price that you're charging for your accounting services be a reflection of you? No, it's just a reflection of the scope of work, and it's just the price of the deliverables that you're charging. Even though it's a service, it's really a product that you're delivering. Okay, so that's number one with internal beliefs. Number two is that commitment and consistency. So I kind of alluded to it. When you have skin in the game, you start acting in a way that is conducive to your goals. So for me, for example, I was really struggling when I was first getting started because I didn't really know what I needed to do in order to like find success. So I kind of knew what I needed to do, but like once I started like getting like information, getting like more training, then one thing that this coach that I worked with told me to do was to write down both my goals every single day. So I was writing down my goals, and like I really like writing down my goals, but then what I started doing in addition to the goals was I started writing down like what are the main activities that I need to do every single day in order to go and reach my goal. And once I started doing that, then it was like just super consistent, super easy for me to go hit my goal consistently, because like, okay, I started changing the way I thought about these things. I just started saying like, I'm a person that does this, I'm a person that does this, I'm a person that does this. And I started changing my internal identity, and that caused me to take the actions that over time lead to me reaching my goals. And it's the same thing now. Like right now, I've been a little bit bougie recently, so I haven't been doing quite as much like marketing or self-gen on like my own stuff because I have a team now. But I think I'm gonna start getting back into it because there's an extra financial goal that I want to hit this year. Well, not this year, but like in the next like 2 or 3 years. So I have to really kind of like buckle in a little bit more to kind of go and reach that goal. And it's like, could I reach it with the existing team I have right now? Yes. But it's kind of a weird, strange place. It's like in some cases, just adding more people is not always going to mean that you make more money the way most people think it does. It's not really like this linear thing. Well, it could be to some degree, but in the way that I'm doing right now, it's not linearized. So I'm kind of improving the process there, so we can like make sure it's more efficient. But again, it does take a little bit more of my time than what I've been putting in for like the last couple weeks. So I started shifting my goal setting back towards the activities that I need to do in order to go and reach that milestone, in order to go and reach that goal. So just really cool to kind of like get back into the trenches kind of thing. Next thing, that's actually another thing that people have when it comes to an internal belief in their business. So a lot of people like say like, you know, I want to work on the business instead of in the business, but it's like, but you don't even have a business. So it's like, so what are you working on? You gotta work inside the business until you have a business to where you can start working on the business. And I think that's a thing that, that's a thing that I even started like falling prey to, I think like last year, because I was just like, well, I have this team, I have this stuff, so why do I need to do anything inside the business anymore, right? And then it's like, and then it's just like, okay, well, you stop doing certain things, and then you're not as motivated, you're not moving. It's like the organization kind of follows you. So it's like you have to be able to kind of spearhead and just like keep being inside the game to make everyone on your team be in the game and just understand that we're all in this thing together. But it's like you can't fully step away from it. Even if you're not doing anything inside the business, you need to still have your attention on the business, right? You need to have your attention on the team. So rather than become like you doing like client work, you still have to be able to like really help your team like get motivated, help your team stay on track, help your team stay accountable. Because if you don't, they start kind of sliding out too, and they start checking out of the business. Like I had to fire a virtual assistant 2 months ago who had been with me for like 2 years, and just like I gave her like about 3 months to kind of change her her result, because she had done really well for like the first year. Second year she did okay. Last year she just started just trailing off, right? It was like every single day a different excuse, different thing was going on. So we gave her a lot of time to kind of improve and gave her some training, but it was just from a motivational perspective. She was just checked out. So it's like, hey, I don't think that we're gonna be a good fit right now. Maybe when you kind of get a little bit more motivated again, you can come back inside the organization. But it's like, they kind of follow you. I was checked out, so they were checked out, Cool. Next thing, follow up, okay? So another aspect of sales skills. Even if you do a perfect sales call, sometimes you will have to follow up with your leads. Now, when I say following up with your leads, oftentimes it's going to take about after how do you say, like after you've done your consultation call, on average, it takes 4 to 11 times of you following up with a person. Did you get my proposal? Did you see my contract? Hey, did you have any more questions? Hey, are we getting ready to go? Hey, when do you want to do your onboarding call? Hey, do you have any more questions? Hey, is there anything I can help you with? Hey, do the proposal time, like 4 to 11 times that you have to follow up with the average client. That's a B2B stat. B2B stands for business to business sales stat. Okay, that's across all industries, right? But most salespeople, and I know that you might be an accountant or bookkeeper, but in this position you're wearing your salesperson hat. Most salespeople give up after 2 follow-ups. Okay, and I've been guilty of this time after time after time. I have, for me, I technically create what's called an ecosystem sales system. So it's ecosystem sales approach. So you can either manually reach out to people and have those follow-ups, or you can have a system that does that, right? So let's say, for example, for me, we'll say my mentorship program, because that's the easiest one for you guys to kind of see, because you can see it, right? Because there's content. So for me, I'm posting YouTube videos every single week, right? Like 2 to 4 of these per week, right? The reason why is because anytime that someone comes from like my Facebook group, or maybe they find me on LinkedIn, and like they either are thinking about my mentorship program, or like maybe they just want to kind of do a little more research, they can go and watch my YouTube channel, and then once they subscribe to the channel, every single time I make a video, there's like a new touch point. It's like, hey, Bryce made this video. Hey, Bryce did this. Hey, did you see this thing from Bryce? Hey, did you see this new free guide? So I, Bryce, do not have to manually follow up with people. My ecosystem is following up with people, right? So it's like, so that's just an example of how you can start making things easier and like building more systems for yourself. Now, if you are not a high volume content creator like I am, right, then you're going to need to at least set up reminders on your phone or your Google Calendar, or your iCalendar, whatever calendar system you need or you use to start sending out those follow-ups. Now, you can even automate those by getting like one of those online texting apps, right? And then you just set up the reminder on your calendar, then you just hit play and go. I like keeping things semi-automated, not automatic. If it's automatic, you generally will tend to forget about it. You can also set up schedule send inside of your Gmail. So you can schedule out 4 to 11 different months worth of follow-up contacts inside of your email. So you just schedule send. So you say, okay, so on day 1 I want this, day number 30 I want this, day 45 I want this, day 60 I want this, right? And you just keep having these touch points, and then once someone like buys or purchases, you just turn off or cancels remaining touch points. But that way you're ensuring that if nothing else, your system is still following up with them, even if you forget they exist, right? That will happen a lot, right? You have to keep very, very organized notes when it comes to your, they call it a CRM, Customer Relationship Management Tool. Okay, so you have to keep very, very detailed notes. One thing that's very important too, in addition to follow-up, whenever you have a consultation call, make sure you have a very simplified way to track the notes per that consultation call. I used to believe that if someone did not buy within like the first like week, then they would never buy again. So I wasn't really taking good detailed notes. So I wasn't really keeping track of like, well, what quote did I send them? Did I ask for a cleanup? What questions did I ask? Do I have access to their books, etc., etc.? I wasn't keeping track of that stuff. So when they would come back like 6 months to a year later, I'd forget everything that we talked about, and I'd have to go back to the consultation call and kind of fumble my way through, trying to basically resell them into work with me, even though if I just had the notes, all it says is, okay, cool, here's a copy of the proposal again, sign it, let's get started. Once I started taking notes, it was so much easier. I could save the proposal on file. I could save the QuickBooks invoice link. So as soon as they're ready to get started, it's just like you just take this link and you just copy and paste it back into the original onboarding email you sent, and it's just like boom. It's a system. It's a system. And if something has changed inside their scope of work, I can go and look at it, and I can see exactly what was the difference between the two. Oh, 7:30. Oh man, tired. Yeah, cool. So that's follow up. Next thing is negotiation. So when it comes to negotiation, negotiation is one of those kind of misunderstood things when it comes to this business, because oftentimes what's going to happen is people are going to tell you that they can't afford it even though they have millions and millions of dollars in the bank. And what most people do when they think about negotiation, they just think about how can I lower my price in a way that makes things easier for the person to say yes to. But there's a million different ways you can negotiate. You can negotiate the start time. You can negotiate the start date. You can negotiate if they need a separate set of onboarding calls. You can negotiate if they want for you to work with their, we'll say their office admin, right, without necessarily charging them extra money. You can offer additional service like invoicing, payroll, APAR, sales and use tax. So like a million different things you can offer financial statements if they want to sweeten the deal, or if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, right? But I like negotiating with services, and I like negotiating on non-monetary things. Now, another dimension you can negotiate on, let's say there's a cleanup, but they don't really have the budget. Okay, so this is different than like them having the money but they can't afford it. If you know that if they like do the stuff that you're talking about, they're gonna get more money, you can actually negotiate a couple different ways. You can negotiate based on, number one, let's say it's like a $6,000 cleanup. I know that's kind of a small cleanup compared to what our students get, but I'm just using it for the sake of example because it's very easy. Okay, so a person, I can't afford $6,000 at one time. Okay, so I know that you said you're going to be getting a loan. Once you get that loan, are you able to actually pay that off? Okay, cool. So you can actually write inside of your contract that once the person gets the loan or gets XYZ amount of extra money, so whether it's that loan or the next loan, I just say like as soon as they the money becomes available, then they can pay off the remainder. Now I'm not giving you legal jargon to use. Go and talk to a lawyer. If you're inside my program, I'll give you proposal templates and I'll walk you through what it is. But I don't just give general legal advice on this YouTube channel where I don't know your full situation. So I'm just giving an example, like a very broad example of what that would look like. Okay, so that's option number one. Some people like that, some people don't like that. If you're gonna do an arrangement like that, you need to make sure you have an ACH authorization form signed by them so you can pull the money directly out of their bank account. I don't like pulling off of a credit card that's on file, especially if it's an amount over about $5,000. The reason why is because a lot of credit cards, they will either decline or have insufficient funds on them. So if a person is not trying to pay you and you're doing this as like an emergency, then it will actually give a notification that like it's insufficient funds, you have to go to that person. So if you instead of doing ACH, if they start being shady and they're just not paying you the cleanup or the remainder, you can pull directly out of their bank account. You have permission to do so, and you have a contract that's in place. So that's kind of why I like that. So that's negotiation A. Another way you can negotiate is you can actually build the price of the cleanup into the monthly price point if they agree to sign like XYZ amount of time into your proposal. So let's say, for example, that it's a $6,000 cleanup. A $6,000 cleanup can be broken down into 4 payments of $1,500 is 3, 12, about $1,250 is 4. Nope, that's not. The thing's about $1,500. Yeah, it was $1,500. So it can be broken down to like 4 payments, $1,500. Okay, cool. So can you pay $1,500 now, $1,500 in a month, $1,500 after that, and then $1,500 30 days after that? They say yes, they say no. Okay, cool. That's one other negotiation. That's basically creating a payment plan, an internal payment plan with them. Additionally, what you could do is you could just tack on, let's say it's $6,000, $500 per month onto their monthly bill. So now let's say they're paying you $500 per month. Okay, if you go and add on another $500, now they're paying you $1,000 a month for the cleanup. But I would only do that if you have a 12-month contract with them, like a 12-month minimum contract with them. And then after the 12 months, they can just go on like their regular billing cycle. The key thing is you have to make sure whatever you negotiate, just have it in writing. Just have it in writing. Now, when it comes to contract, just have it in writing. Now, the contract's not like an all be all. Like contracts can get like ripped up and thrown out pretty easily in court. And like sometimes if there's just a lot of different things that happen when it comes to court. Sometimes like someone's going to be shady, they're just going to be shady, right? So you try and minimize business with people who are shady as much as possible, because if they're shady, they have a tendency to do shady stuff, right? So if you see like someone is like not paying their bills to their vendor, and you see it in their QuickBooks before you start working with them, it's like, you know, if you need the money, okay, maybe. Like, if it's your first client, like, you have $0 in the bank and you like are gonna be on the street in a couple of days or weeks or months, okay, cool. I could see doing that. But it's like, if you have any form of money and you see like they don't pay half their vendors, it's like, okay, maybe they're not gonna pay me, so I'm not gonna start working with them. You know. You can see inside their history and their QuickBooks they have it where it's like, you know, have they paid their last bookkeeper, the last accountant? Like, what was the payment cycle like? Do they pay them once every 90 days? They pay them once a year? You know what I mean? But they were receiving invoices that were just unpaid for a while. Like, what does that kind of look like? And then, yeah, so just try and stay away from shade. You know, there's a lot of business owners out there that are you know, legitimate and that are pretty cool. Right, so it's just like just work with people that are good, and like just kind of minimize the negative people as much as possible. Yeah, I mean you're not gonna be able to like to cancel out all the bad business people, because like sometimes like they're really skilled, right? Especially like con men or something like that. So it's just like it really depends, but it's like even though you might gain a little bit of money from that, like it's just not worth it, because I mean they can do like a chargeback, they can do like a million different things, and like it adds to the emotion or to the mental drag you have on the business, and it's just like, okay, is $1,000 really worth you feeling annoyed for an entire month or annoyed for 2 weeks? Or it's like, no, because then you can just like use the same mental energy, instead of being annoyed, use that mental energy to go and get more clients, you know, or spend time with your family. Just depends on what you're trying to do. Cool. So those are 3 internal tips that are going to help you increase your business bookkeeping income without dramatically having to get a million clients, okay? Hopefully you learned something new. If you have any questions, make sure to put inside the comments. I read those comments now almost every single day. Also, you want some help growing your business, but maybe you just don't know what you don't know, and you know that, like, hey, if you had someone like Bryce in your corner, where, you know, all these videos we do, like, they're very informative, but they're usually something that we cover inside our mentorship program in much greater customized detail. So if you felt like having that customized help and that support would be helpful for you, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you, like, in our mentorship program, okay? I'd love to see if I can help you. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to see, like, you know, what can we do to kind of help move your life and your business forward, okay? So if that's you, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's A-okay too. I will see you on the next video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.